Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today we are unboxing the brand new release, Yamaha Vintage RXA880. This model has been air freighted to New Zealand to ensure that we get them here on time. In fact, the model hasn't even been released yet in the UK. So, hopefully, we will be producing the first unboxing video in Australasia and maybe the English-speaking world. Anyway, claim to fame. Look, hey, Yamaha. Yamaha have been doing wonderful home theatre amplifiers for many years, decades. Their new MusicCast range has taken the world by storm, enabling them to integrate all sorts of multi-room music around people's homes. This takes that MusicCast technology a little bit further with the release of the 80 series, so RXA880, 780, 880, 1080, and so on. They're going to enable, with most of them, to use the MusicCast platform to release wireless rear speakers. Now, yet to be released in New Zealand are the speakers themselves, but they're coming, and that's an excellent part of what Yamaha do so well, is they indicate their intentions and they release products into our market that will stand the test of time. So, let's have a look. Firstly, the packaging. Now, if you've watched any of my unboxing videos before, you will see a distinct change in packaging with this particular model. Yamaha's boxes are normally extremely muted and in a plain brown box. This is now white. And they've added colour, including this big full colour thing on the front to imply that this is something a little bit special. Like all their packaging, of course, now they are consumed with licensing and other things like that. Some of this is excellent. Look, some of it is proprietary to Yamaha. Yamaha Cinema DSP along with their 3D sound. Yamaha MusicCast enhanced the Wipeout setup, to name just a few. But some of the big guns are here. This is an AirPlay device. This will play Spotify, Tidal and Deezer. It's got a radio on board. It's got Bluetooth on board. This is an excellent hub for everything you will need for music. And that's even before you plug your Blu-ray player or game console and end up in the world of surround sound. So, without further ado, have a look at this product. Firstly, again, just the packaging. Again, white box. Colour on one end. And on one end we've got the model and serial number and the scan barcode and other things like that. Opening this stuff is really straightforward. It's a simple factory tape. So a nick cut and a nick should see us straight in. Right, so looking at the box as you will see it in your home. Firstly, Yamaha's Wipeout mic setup. Now, this microphone is designed to sit at approximately ear level and let the amplifier's setup do the rest. They've been doing Wipeout for a very long period of time, so let it do its job. Maybe a wee tweak is required at the end, but most of the time, not. So, make sure you use the setup mic. We've got Yamaha's remote control. Now, previous generations have had a very basic remote control. This particular one has gone up in quality and class. It's got a lovely weight to it, and this generation of remote controls is brand new, and I love it. Look at the style. It's excellent. You've got recesses for volume up and down so you don't get lost if you're navigating in the dark. It's got a nice smooth feel to it. Plus rough on the back so you're not going to drop it easily. You've got a New Zealand IEC power cord. This is a two-prong one, so there's no earth. And you've got the accessory bag. Now normally we just describe what's in it and give it a whirl, but I'm going to open this today so that we can share it. Okay, so user manual. Good to see the most basic of the control is in the most basic of setup and control is in the user manual. It's a printed user guide. It also shows you how you can use QR codes and other things like to download most of this to your phone if you wish. We've got an Australasian and New Zealand warranty card. Now, I'll be honest, this is a little bit of a thing of the past. Retailers will hold your sale information electronically, so if you've got a problem, give them a call. They'll regenerate the invoice and sort of bypass that. There's a little card here introducing for Spotify and how to sort of get it to go on these models. It's a Spotify Connect, obviously. And a little piece of paper with contact information for the worldwide representative offices, so obviously their export market. Second to last, we've got the Yamaha's FM aerial. Now, Yamaha no longer produce AV receivers with AM tuners on board, obviously, so FM aerial only. And then last but not least, the batteries. The batteries for the remote control that we've just seen. And off this goes. Okay, there we go. Now, the packaging's always really, really good. We've got a couple of deep pieces of polystyrene that supports the unit. There's a nice zone of crush should there be any freight damage, and obviously the corners and things like that will work very well protected. Getting the unit out of the box at this point is pretty straightforward. Look, go, nothing left, and get rid of that. Okay, now all Yamaha pieces are protected with this sort of bubble paper. Now I guess I've called it bubble paper, I don't know what it is, but it means that there's going to be no scratches or no small sort of issues in transit. Okay, so looking at this product for the first time, it's beautifully well made. The Vintage series is obviously made to a slightly better quality than most. The product isn't very deep. Now this is a 7-channel amplifier with zone 2. We're going to see some of these inputs and outputs soon, and please hang around for some of the photographs and you will get to see it up close. It's about 100-110 watts a channel, and of course zone 2. I'm going to tip this forward and just sort of look for a moment at some of the badges, because explaining these is important, particularly with the release of these new ranges. Firstly, the Cinema DSP. Now that's proprietary to Yamaha. It's basically a way of them saying, look, it's going to do surround sound and do it bloody well. MusicCast. That's the logo you really need to look for. All MusicCast amplifiers, whether they be stereo or home theatre, their mini systems, their clock radios, all sorts of things that feature this MusicCast logo, enable Yamaha to build a collaborative audio system around your home. Inputs and outputs are shared and available really easily, so please look out for the MusicCast logo. Bluetooth, nice and simple, that's a proprietary badge. Wi-Fi certified, again, it's because it's a wired and wireless network product. HDMI, DTS:X, and Dolby Atmos. Now these are the two big guns in multi-channel surround sound and allow for height effects and other excellent surround sound advantages. Okay, so the front panel. Now firstly you'll see this little piece of green tape, and I think you understand that taking those sort of final pieces of tape off is one of those subtle joys in life. Exposing the front panel, which we're going to go into in a moment. So firstly, starting on this side, we've got the main power on and off. Now this is a toggle. It goes into standby upon turning this on and off. You've got an input rotary encoder, and it's a good look and feel. Look, it's a lighter rotary encoder, and they tend to improve across the 4-digit range. Then you've got 2 buttons across the middle for zone 2 on and off, and zone 2 control. Now, pushing zone 2 control sets a light blinking on the front panel, and the next buttons you press are then doing the control for zone 2 only. So if you want the radio for zone 2, click the button, select the input to radio, and guess what happens in zone 2? Radio turns on and you hear it. The same happens with volume. Adjusting the volume in zone 2 can be from the front panel, again by tapping the zone 2 button. The buttons across the front are relating to the radio tuner. You've got memory, preset up and down, and FM or DAB selection. As DAB is in its infancy in New Zealand, it's not a big feature, but there's parts of Auckland and the North Island that have DSP rocking along nicely. Sorry, DAB rocking along nicely. And if you do, excellent. It's a much better broadcast standard. Then you've got the manual tuning backwards and forwards. That's how you find the radio stations you want. Over the far side, we've got the Pure Direct button. Now this shuts down the unnecessary operations of the amplifier and focuses attention on what you are doing right here, right now. So if you're listening to a CD and you press Pure Direct, it's going to lock it down into stereo. If you're listening to a movie and you hit Pure Direct, it's going to lock it down to the most simple circuit it can to give you the best sound it can. And of course, the big volume control, and again this is a rotary encoder. Underneath the front panel, we get to hide away some of the not so everyday features. The first and most obvious is the headphone socket. Now, this is not only for stereo playback, but also silent cinema mode. Yamaha have introduced an ability with a pair of stereo headphones to create a wonderful illusion of surround sound. It uses some of Yamaha's the DSP technologies from their sound projectors to actually do it, so it's brilliant. You've got a front USB. Now this is a 1 amp USB, so it's not going to charge large iPads or tablets, but it allows digital input from those devices, and of course it will charge a small device like a phone or an iPod. You've got tone control, the basic there. You've got program up and down. Now this is the DSP settings, or digital surround processing. You can select some of the proprietary ones and make it sound like a church or a rock hall, or of course some of the more modern ones like DTS, DTSX, Dolby Atmos, etc. Straight button there is now flicking between some of the onboard processing and the decoders for surround sound, and beneath it is, in brackets, is the word connect. Now you push and hold this as part of the MusicCast setup, and it sets a broadcast to say, hey, come find me, and it will pop up on your control device. There's a 3.5mm auxiliary input on the front. This is for portable devices like phones or MP3 players. And then over the far side, a Y-Power mic input. This is not a karaoke mic input, it's specific to the setup microphone. And when you plug something in, the unit immediately comes up with an on-screen display saying, would you like to do its Y-Power setup? Okay, so spinning this around and having a look. Again, it's not very deep. It doesn't need to be. These are designed to be relatively compact. If I tip it up, you'll see there's a lot of ventilation. In fact, just briefly, I'm going to pull it on this side as well, so you see the additional ventilation for the likes of the power supplies and other things like that. Looking at the back, you'll see Yamaha have added not one but 2 wireless antennae. Obviously, wireless speed and broadcast is pretty important nowadays, particularly if you're setting these up either for Wi-Fi direct or a reasonable distance away from your router. Please, if we mention wireless for a moment, let's talk about the network socket. If you can, plug this product in. Even Ethernet over power devices are better than wireless. They're more stable, so look at cabling if you can, and certainly from a streaming perspective you'll have better results. Okay. So looking at the inputs and outputs along one side, we'll start at this edge. The top sees the 12-volt triggers and other remote control. These are all 3.5mm. 12-volt trigger is an output and will trigger another device to turn on, or perhaps an electric screen to drop down, or a projector lift, that kind of stuff. The remote ins and outs are for infrared control, and this allows for a direct connection from a remote receiver system, or the ability to obviously daisy chain this to any number of different devices. There's 2 optical digital inputs which can be selected on the on-screen display, and 2 coaxial digital inputs. Directly below these is the analog input for a phono stage. So there's a dedicated input for a phono and comes with a dedicated ground. Moving across, we've got some traditional analog inputs, a single component and a single composite video input. This has very basic video up conversion on board, so composite and component will be converted to the HDMI output, enabling you to plug in legacy devices or cameras, camcorders, Wii consoles, game consoles, that type of thing. Above the component video is the FM and DAB aerial socket, and above those are the 2 HDMI outputs. Now this is a great improvement over predecessors, and it will give you the ability to have a projector and screen running parallel with a television, for example. It's worth noting these are now all 4K compliant and Dolby Vision and things like that as well. There are 7 HDMI inputs at the rear. This means this is extremely well appointed for its price. Again, the network socket and RS-232 control in the second aerial. In the middle section here you'll see that this is separately coloured or greyed out. This is the pre-out for all of the channels, enabling all sorts of setups to be done from this basically, well, mid-priced, no, actually entry-level priced home theatre amp. It allows the slaving of power amplifiers and other things like that very easily, and some addition of subwoofers and all sorts of things in your home theatre. Now getting down to the nuts and bolts of it, we've got the binding posts for the speakers. Now these are a plastic binding post, but they still have a very good look and feel. They're well made, and you'll see because this is a 7-channel amplifier, it has the 7 amplification channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the extra speakers enabling that 7th channel to be selected and switched to run a zone 2 if required. If I understand correctly, it will enable the amplifier to run 7.1 in the home theatre, and then when you turn on zone 2, the less used rear surrounds will be shut off and that amplification stage temporarily allocated out to a second zone. Ideal for outdoors, ideal for a kitchen or music somewhere else in the home. And using the MusicCast app will make this a breeze. Okay, now last input and output is the IEC power cord, and below it a little bit of information about the model and the serial number itself. So there we go. Yamaha's new RXA880, brand new release, MusicCast home theatre amplifier, unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.